Hello, this is Zed Nipple.
Whoops, that's not it. Oh my God. It's already started, Fred.
That's it.
Let's
One
try.
sentence.
I redid one of these. Oh God, I should have gotten. Oh, okay. Revised open. All right. Let's try this one.
From the belly of the Beast Coast, Glastonbury, Connecticut, this is the Cultra Trail Running Podcast. We talk about all the fun shit that happens on the trails that most normal people don't care about. The language we use is fucking explicit and raw like the trails we run on. So don't listen with your kids! Cultra was brought to you by our Patreons and supporters, and we are 112% listener supported, and support is good.
All right. Well, welcome everybody to the Cultra Trail Running Podcast. I'm your host, Art Byram, and I am joined today by members of the Cultra crew, both North and South. Representing the South, we have Phred Marolo.
I'm here.
All right. And Anna G up north.
Thank you for having me back.
Glad to have you here. So tonight's episode is going to be we're going to do a couple fun things. We're going to start out by talking about across the years. There's not a lot going on in the running world right now, I guess. I don't know. Is that fair to say? You think, guys? Or, but across the years is a major happening. So that's happening.
That was happening. Yes.
Yeah. So we're going to definitely talk about that. There's a lot of points of interest to that. And then we'll talk about the real King of Pain a little bit, just kind of as a teaser for that event. And then we're going to get into, because everybody's started, all of a sudden we're having to run in ice and snow and the cold and the weather and stuff like that. And that presents a lot of challenges in kind of the way that we approach that. So we're gonna get into all that stuff, like what gear we personally like, what bad mistakes we've made that you guys can avoid in the future, and how to make it fun, or how to make it not fatal, at least. So let's put it that way. All right. So I think maybe first we'll talk about across the years. So Phred, you just ran 100 miles at across the years. Is that correct?
I did. Yes, it was the slowest 100 ever.
Very good. So it's your SKT, or?
It probably was. Yeah. I've run some slow ones, but I think that might have been the slowest.
Okay. All right. I mean, still, like, if you go down to the Glastonbury Senior Center and start trying to beat yourself up and say, hey, you know what? I ran a really, how you doing, Phred? Well, I'm feeling pretty bad because I ran a very slow 100 miles. Like, I don't think many people are going to give you a hard time on that. So maybe, Phred, you could kind of tell us a little bit about across the years, what it is, and then we can get into maybe what you did, and then we'll talk about what some other people that we know who were there, and what their experiences were.
Across the years is like I think it was probably the first race that incorporated New Year's Eve in an ultra. Like, there are all these races that, like, started in Central Park at midnight and things like that. But this was like you could start an ultra on December 31st and finish that ultra on January 1st. It started at Nardini Manor in 1983, I think. And I can't remember the RDs, but it was this couple, and they had it was Nardini Manor was like this kind of mansion outside Phoenix, and they had a 500-meter course around it that they would it was kind of limited as to how many people could fit on the course, but it became a happening. Like all the West Coast ultra people, the people who were on the ultra list back in the day, they would all go to Phoenix for New Year's Eve. And so I mean, I don't know how many, how many hours it was when it first started out, whether you could do even a 72-hour race, but it morphed into a 6-day ultimately. So,
Hmm.
um, and it is still huge. It's been purchased by Arvipa now. The last few
Mm-hmm.
years, it probably had 500 people in it this year in the various races. You can if you can dream of a race, you could probably do it there. They'll let you do it. All it takes is money and time. So
Mm,
like you can do an ultra like a 50K every day. You can do 144 hours like Michael Lepresti did. You can do 48 hours. You can do 100 miles. You can do 50 miles. You can do 50K. You can do 72 hours, 48 hours, 24 hours, 12 hours, 6 hours, whatever you want.
wow. If you got the time, right, they've got the course. So
Yes, and if you've ever done an Arvita race, they do the like quite a few races. They're really like the premier race, like professional race company in the West, I think.
mm,
They the production was unbelievably professional. Like they had like these huge tents, they had everything set up, everything was curated really well. The food was amazing. When you sign up, they ask you if you have food preferences, like anything you'd like to see, and do you have any,
mm,
like limitations in your diet, and
hmm.
that kind of
So
thing.
so some of their other races, Fred, maybe we could kind of just touch on those. Like,
Javelina is one of
hmm,
them. They
yeah,
they put on a bunch of races in Colorado now
hmm,
that I can't even remember the names of them, but they're like all over Colorado and the Southwest. So
gotcha. So they're kind of known to be the private label big company, right? Like
yes,
they're
yeah,
large enough to get it right, and but they're not. I guess like they're not Iron Man, right?
right. Yeah, they're not squatting on other people's races
Yeah, they're
and
not
putting them out of
Whistler.
business and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
But
And
but Nick and Jamal Curry are the owners, and they're
mhm.
both good ultra runners themselves. And
Yeah,
one of the
that's an
races they put on
understatement.
is Desert Solstice,
Hmm.
which is an invitation race for people who are elite, so who are trying to get on national teams. And that's 2 weeks before across the years. So they do a track ultra like you can try to get on the 24-hour team, or I don't know if they have 48 hours there, but you can do 100 miles there. There've been a lot of records set there. So
Okay.
Fred,
this year it was at I think it might have been last year as well, but I wasn't there last year. So this year it was at a minor league baseball complex in Peoria, Arizona, which is part of Metro Phoenix, but is like northwest of downtown Phoenix. And it's the minor league complex, and that's the spring training for the Mariners and the Padres. So you're running
Okay.
around like the backs of baseball fields. The whole
Hmm.
and the course was 1.42 miles, too much concrete, but also a lot of dirt. So it was it was interesting. It was I had never been there before, and I tried to go in 2010, and there was a big snowstorm, and my flight was canceled, and I could not get another flight, and had to abandon. So
Oh,
15 years later, I went.
mm,
and so you're right back there now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Excellent. Anna, what were you saying? You
oh, well, I was
something?
actually going to ask if you had done it before, but you answered the question, and I was wondering if it, like met your expectations of what you'd been hoping for. I guess since 2010, did it match
The
what you were thinking it would be like, or
the
how is it different?
the people, yes. Like like everybody that I had corresponded with on the Ultra List, because I was a big contributor to the Ultra List back in the 2000 2000 aughts and 2010s, and all those people were there, and it met my expectations in that way. I did not love the course. It was
Mm,
the concrete was tough on my feet and ankles.
hmm. Was it a flat course, Fred?
It's flat except
Hmm.
right at the start, you go up onto a raised concrete platform, which is like behind the outfield of the actual stadium, and then you go down a ramp, and that's the hill. That's the one real hill.
That's where you walk, right?
Yeah, yes, yeah,
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So this is sounding, it's kind of sounding like 3 days at, or, at the fairgrounds in Sussex County in a certain way. I mean, I think that course is the course you ran is longer, right? Because it's more than a
yes.
mile, right?
1.42 for that one,
Yeah.
not a exact mile.
But
Yeah.
so there's no significance in that distance, right? It's just
It's
like,
just to get around those different
mm,
different playing fields. Yeah.
Yeah. But it still did have any hairpin turns?
There were a lot of turns, but not as sharp as that hairpin turn in New Jersey.
Gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, because that's always that's almost an ankle breaker after, 112 repetitions,
Yeah, I know Camille really hated it.
Yeah, yeah.
She has a really long stride, and she
Hmm.
came out there and was like, I can't handle that super
Yeah.
short 180.
Gotcha, gotcha. Well, Phred, congratulations on another on another 100. And did you slept in the middle of it? Is that right or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if you looked at my laptop. So
No, I saw that
I
I didn't, but I saw that your time was like I think 44 hours or something, right?
yes, yeah.
That's good.
The first day I did it with Big Steve
Yeah.
Kersey. And
It's
so
kind of you did it with him, right?
he said to me, "Hey, do you want to go out and run 100 miles at ATY? I haven't done 100 this year." And I said, "I haven't done 100 this year either because I had 100 lined up and then I had to go to a memorial service for one of my friends, so I missed that race. And I really kind of wanted to do it because I had done at least 100 for the last 19 years.
Mm.
Well, 18 years. Now it's 19. And so I was like, yeah, let's do this. And we got out there, and this is the story of the race, like the short version of the story of the race. We're running the race together and just basically having a visit, talking about everything,
Yeah.
um, and going around and around and around. And then we get to midnight, and Steve says,
Uh-oh.
I want to run this loop continuously. And like I'll see you at some point after. He was ready to like
Oh.
forge off on his own. And I was like, sure, go, dude. And then I behind him because I never passed him. But uh every time I would come around, I would look for his name on the leaderboard to see if it was even there, and it wasn't there. So
Hmm.
like then like I don't know, 3 or 4 laps later, I get a text from Steve, and he said, I'm in the nap tent. There's this big white tent that was like kept dark, and it had a heater in it. And it's like, I'm in the nap tent.
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
you want to take a break? And I was like, all right, I guess. Because before that he had been like, we're going straight through.
Yeah.
We're not gonna like take forever to do this. And I was like, okay,
No, we're going to
whatever.
sprint this. We'll probably go like we might not break 24, but it's not going to be
Yeah.
more than 26, right?
Well, he was saying more like we got to do this within like at least 30 or
35.
30s at the worst, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I was like, whatever, I'm down to try anyway. And then we went into the nap tent, and didn't leave the nap tent for like 4 hours. So,
Yeah,
so that
yeah.
that was the end of that. And then like 2 laps later, Steve and I get going in the morning, and we were a little ragged after sleeping on a cot in the nap tent, and he was like, my wife is over at the Hampton, and you can see the Hampton from the course. It's like just a few hundred yards off the course. You could like
Oh
see the
God.
building. He's like, I'm gonna go get a Hampton breakfast. I'll see you in a
Oh.
little while. And I thought to myself, there's no way he's coming back. So he did come back, but he did not run anymore. So he did like, I don't know, 52 or 54 miles or something.
Okay, all right.
But
See, that's even, you know what? That's not 100, right?
yeah. Well, and then he said to me, like, I just wasn't down for going into the second night. That was definitely not in my plans. I was like, that's cool. I'm
Mm,
good. He had to get
yeah.
back he was visiting his father and mother in San Diego. He had to get back there. And I think he thought, like, we'll knock off a 30-hour flat 100, and then I'll hop in the car and drive back to San Diego. But you know, that it didn't
Gotcha.
work out. So
Gotcha. Well, you know what? That kind of happens. So what was the weather like there?
um it was about 70 degrees in the day.
Hmm.
In the afternoon, it would get really windy, and you're
Mm.
on this like dry dirt part of the course. It would get really dusty
Oh,
flying around, so you're breathing in the dust.
people were calling that baseball dust. Is that right? Is
Yes,
that what it's
yeah,
called, right? Baseball
yep.
dust?
And
Yeah.
then at night, the first night it felt cold. It was probably high 40s, but it was
Mm.
it was windy, and it cut through you. So I had the Culture Crew orange windbreaker
Okay.
run. So I was repping Cultra.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Second night was not as cold. It was just calmer and
Mm.
not as cold. So no Cultra crew
Yeah.
windbreaker.
So no rain there, right?
No rain.
Would
I
have been
think it
welcomed.
may have rained like on day 4, but
Mm.
I was already home. So
Gotcha. Gotcha. Um, all right. So let's talk about, so yeah, again, congratulations. It can't be, overstated. Like 100 miles is still like to do that 19 years in a row, Phred, is, so here's my question though. Did you finish before the next day or did you finish on the day you started?
I didn't finish on the
Like,
day I started, but I
did
finished
you
on the
start in the
year I
year?
started.
Sorry. I meant
Yeah.
year. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I started on the
Okay.
28th and finished on the 30th. So
Oh, okay, good.
yeah.
So I'm sure it was kind of a stupid question. I want to retract that question, Your Honor, because it's like, it's kind of obvious. It's like a gimme. It's like that's how Phred rolls. Like you
Yeah,
wouldn't have
I
you weren't
wasn't gonna
gonna
do it in 2 years.
no,
No.
because it would have if you had run that through the years, literally it would have it might not have counted,
It
right?
would not have counted.
Yeah,
You're
it wouldn't have
right.
counted for
Yes.
next year or this year. And so,
Hmm.
you would have been
Yes.
stuck both ways. So,
Right.
yeah.
So sorry, do all the races start at on the same day so that only the people doing the 6-day one have that opportunity, or how does that start
Anna, you
time?
can start it. You can start anytime you want.
You can start
Oh, okay.
now.
So I started early because I wanted to get home for New Year's Eve.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But a lot of people start like they'll start a 48 hour on the 30th, so they're running through New Year's, or they'll
Okay.
start a 24-hour on the 31st. And so that's when it's really bunched up, like when like a lot of
Mhm.
people want to run through midnight.
Okay.
So what was the vibe like there? Like, I know I kind of feel like I know what the vibe is at the fair in New Jersey. What's the vibe like there? Is it the same kind of thing, or is it like, or is that more of an East Coast thing, or
I,
what's the deal?
I would say it's not exactly the same, but it's hard for me to articulate exactly how it's different.
Mm-hmm.
But um, the it was just a bigger production for one. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's a section. I mean, there's this big parking lot for the minor league baseball complex, and they have a part where you swing through the parking lot and you're running a gauntlet of RVs that are backed up to the course
Oh
because
yeah.
people have brought their RVs
Mm-hmm.
and rented space. So there are RVs on the fair course, but not as many, and it's not as big a production. And
Okay.
like I felt like there were more people on the course at any given time than there is at the fair.
Okay. But they weren't the same. Like at the fair, you kind of get the crowd, right? Like you get a specific, I mean, it obviously it varies event to event a little bit, but there's always like, you're always going to see a lot of the same,
Yeah,
the
I'm seeing
same
my
people at
people
the
at the
fair.
fair
Yeah.
because I've been there every year. Yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
This one,
Okay.
it was not the same, but I saw some people who are like ultrarunning legends, like Ann Trayson was there, but also
Yes.
like Tracy Thomas, who I had been corresponding with through the Ultra List since probably 2006, and
Mm-hmm.
she was a great ultra runner. Actually, I think outright won the Arkansas Traveler back in like the 2000 aughts, some like 2006 or 2007,
Mm-hmm.
and has had some, a couple of health issues over the years. She's a uh, potter, and she used to make um, coffee mugs that would be race swag for a lot of West Coast ultras.
Oh,
The company
okay.
was called Marvelous Mud, and it was so cool to meet her in person. And we were
Mm.
both like, I'm Phred, and she's like, Tracy, I'm Tracy. Oh my God, we've been,
So you hadn't
corresponding all
met
these
her
years.
before, is that right? Or
Sorry,
you had never met her
I'd never
before?
met her.
Oh, but you
Yeah.
just knew her forever
Yes.
because of the boards,
Yes.
because of the
For
lists.
like probably 20 years we'd been
Oh, that's cool.
so yeah.
And you knew she was going to be there from the sign up, like you were looking
Yes.
for her?
Yes, I
Okay.
did. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Very good. That's like someday I'm going to meet Ellie Pell, right? That's like my life ambition is to meet Ellie just because I've like spent hours talking to her on the show here. Um, you know,
I feel like
commented
I've
on a
met her,
million.
but of course
Oh,
we haven't. Yeah, I
yes.
know.
No, only a chosen few have met her. Tony, uh, 2 New York Bonanno has actually met her in person. So he's confirmed proof of life there. So
Steve met her at the cafe
yeah,
when she was still working there, and I
yeah.
think he was like too shy of like to go up and
Well,
introduce himself.
it is Ellie Pell, so
Yes.
there is the intimidation factor there. So, you know, so excellent, excellent. So, Ann Trayson was there too. So maybe you could talk a little bit. I don't know if you knew her specific situation or,
I don't know the details of her
mhm,
situation, but I can tell you this. Years ago, um, Ann Trayson came to the fair. She was running, she was trying to click off an ultra in all 50 states.
mhm,
And she used the fair as the New Jersey Ultra. And she was at that point still in pretty good shape and was running and but she was very gracious with the fact that we were all fanboying around her and stuff. So
mm,
my friends and I have like photos of all of us lined up walking with Ann Trayson, and we're all like, oh my God, we're with Ann Trayson. She won Western States 14 years in a row, you know.
yeah.
So it was amazing back then.
Hold it,
And
14 years in a row.
I think so.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, yeah.
I
Like
mean, she was really
yeah.
generation. Yeah.
It's hard to. It's really. It's I. That's the kind of statistic that you hear, and then you're like, wait, is that right? And then you look it up and you see it's true, and then like a little bit of time goes by, and then it's like, yeah, that can't be quite true, and then it is still. So
And then I believe she may have finished that one either second or third overall, and she finished Leadville second overall. So
hmm,
she was like way up there. She was like fantastic.
yeah,
But just more recently, she's had some very serious health issues. And I was told by someone that 3 months ago, she really couldn't walk because
correct,
she
yeah.
had some serious health issues. And there she was. She put up over 100 miles in the 6 day, pushing a stroller, basically.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Very good.
So,
Well, congratulations to her too. So
and I should say she was in great spirits too. Like people kept, I mean, when you're that famous,
oh yeah, yeah.
people just kept coming up to her and pestering her the whole time she's trying to go. Right? Like,
Yes.
oh Ann, I met you 10 years ago. Do you remember? And she was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, good to see you, you know.
That's right. That's right. That's like Des Linden is still talking about the time she came on our show, right, Fred? I mean,
Yes.
she is, that's been the highlight.
That had to be a
It was,
highlight for
it
her.
was nice to win Boston and all, but I think coming on Cultra kind of tipped the scales there. So, um, all right. So so let's talk about some other people that were there too. Who did you see? What other local people did you see there? You saw Lopresti Loop, right? Michael
Yeah,
Lopresti.
Michael Apresti ran 373 miles in the 6 day, um,
Yeah.
which is 100K a day. Now
You,
I ran into him. It was funny because we both knew each other were going to be there and start that
mhm.
day. And then he texted me like 6 hours into the race and said, I haven't seen you. Did you have other plans? And the answer was he had seen me, he just didn't recognize me. He was just going
Mm,
past me and I had forgotten that he had that tattoo of the cat on the back of his right
yeah.
calf. And I was like,
Yep.
oh, look at that cat tattoo on that guy. And forgot that it was Lopresti.
For
But
cat's tail. Yeah.
yeah. And then he eventually, we eventually connected. But 100K a day is not easy to do for six
Yeah.
days in a row. And he had a plan. I talked to him about it, and he was like, I kept my hotel room. And instead of like, sleeping in my car or like, curling up on the pavement or something, every night I'm going back to my hotel and I'm like showering, cleaning up, and sleeping in
Mm.
a bed and then coming back early in the morning. So I'm getting like 6 hours sleep a night, which
Those elite runners, right?
that was
I mean,
brilliant.
just
But
like that.
that's the way they do it at the 3100. Right?
Okay.
They
Yeah. They go back
the
to
course
your
is only
hotel
open
room.
for 18 hours a day. So they go
Yeah.
back to rest somewhere. So
Huh.
he did it in that style and did what would be the minimum distance too, the 100K.
Okay. All right. Uh-oh. Maybe you think he's planning something?
Yeah.
You think that was like a little shakeout? Did you drop that
That's
on
such
him
a hard
or no?
race. Oh my God. I mean, you know, he,
But
I wouldn't put it past him, but man.
but think about it. Just the commute alone is easier than going to Arizona. I mean, you just go to New York, right? I mean, how hard is
Yes.
that? So,
Yeah. And speaking of the 3100, Yolanda Holder was at ATY,
Mm.
and she is, for people who don't know, uh, I think she may be the only American woman who's ever finished that race, but she walked the whole thing. She walks,
Wow.
and her walking is
Oh,
amazingly
yes.
compact and efficient. I first saw her pass me and I was like, I think that's Yolanda Holder. So I like hurried up so I could
Hmm.
see when we crossed the start finish, and it was. And then
Yeah.
I tried to keep up with her walking only, and I couldn't keep up with her for a quarter mile. She's
Yeah.
just so smooth in her walking. The only way I
Mm.
could keep up with her is like walk 100 steps, then run a little bit, and then keep doing that just to stay there.
Sure.
I couldn't, but she doesn't lean forward. She's very erect and very smooth in her stride. And
Oh,
it's not a long stride, but it's just efficient. She just eats up the pavement.
she doesn't have the lean going or anything?
No lean.
No. Wow.
I'm really intrigued by this the only walking concept because I love walking possibly more than I love running or like running. And did she switch to walking at some point, or do you happen to know? Like,
I
was she a runner and then she said, "I'm only walking from now on," or how did that evolve? Do you
I
know by
don't
chance?
know her deep history, but I know for at
Yeah.
least the last decade, she's been known as somebody who is an ultra walker.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Because I
she's
think she
really
said,
good at it.
because
She's
she
trained.
said that people used to give her, she used to get flack about it, which is kind of funny.
Hmm.
Like, people saying, oh, well, you're walking it, you know, you're not running it. So I've
Yeah,
heard
well,
her
she's
interviewed a couple
she's
times.
walked
So
24-hour hundreds.
yeah.
She walked the 3,100-mile race, I
Yeah.
mean, and within the time period, which is
Mm,
astounding
Hmm.
to me.
yeah.
So,
That
yeah.
is. That is.
But I
Um,
talked to her a little bit. I said to her, Yolanda, I can't walk and keep up with you. And she said, "Oh no." I was like, "No."
well, as I'm going through my, Phred, you and I haven't talked in a while, but I've had my complete shoulder replacement surgery done. So I'm not able to run until probably, I think it's looking like probably March or something like that. We'll see. It's feeling really good so far, but
Good.
I
Excellent.
have been able to walk. So I've just,
Not as
you know,
fast as Yolanda though, or that's
almost as fast as her, except not as fast. It's like she would be leading and I would be behind her a distance that we're just not going to mention. So,
So I had a really
Hmm.
good visit with Becky at the Christmas Eve
yes.
uh, walk. We walked it down together, and
Hmm.
she told me that she'd been in touch with you, and she kept asking you how the surgery went, and your answer always was, "It hasn't happened yet." So she's like, "Yeah,
Yes.
I did that about 3 times." Like, how's the healing going? I'm like, "Yeah, I
Yeah.
haven't had the surgery yet." So,
Yeah. That was
so now you have.
December 16th. Yes.
Okay.
So, no, it was really good. I actually, let me ask you this. Do you know anybody from the city who might be a nurse that goes by his name is Francis, and he's run Phil's race, the New York, the 100K in New York, or he ran the 100K in New York with Phil.
Last name? You don't know?
I don't have that. I'm gonna
Is
start
it
going through.
is it Francis Kwok though?
No,
Not
no.
Francis
Oh,
Kwok.
you know what? Gosh, I didn't even think of that. No, no, it's not. No,
Okay.
no.
Because I know Francis Kwok.
Yeah, yeah. No, because it was weird. I started somehow. I said something about, yeah, how did you break it? Oh, I did it running. Oh, you run? Yeah, I run. Here's an IV. You must feel good with this IV. Yeah, it reminds me of the end of Boston. I kind of douche canoed that in there. I couldn't help myself. And he's like, "Oh, you're one of those fast runners." And he goes, "Yeah, I'm not that." He goes, "Ultras are more my thing." Is what he said. And I was like, "Oh, this is going well so far, this conversation." So I had a pleasant conversation with him right before I went into surgery. So
Oh, great.
I felt like I was surrounded by my people there. So
That's good. It's good.
um,
Speaking of surrounded by people, I noticed that Anna put on her glasses to do this. And she's like hanging out with two old guys with glasses. So she's like, "All right, I'm gonna get my
solidarity.
It's a longer story than that. I don't have a good angle, and anyway, yeah. But I also realized as I was putting them on, oh, now I can really relates to the,
Right.
I wear glasses all the time. So yeah,
There you go. Okay.
I
I
feel
thought
one of the gang. Yeah.
I thought she was going to drop. Yeah, they're not prescription. It's just, so I can get the
It's not gonna be part of
Fashion.
this club,
The look.
the
Yeah.
glasses
Yeah.
club. Yeah.
So other people that we knew there, like Amy Mauerpower was there, right?
Our power was there. I think she finished
First
like, was he first in the 48 hour?
in the 48 hours. Yes, she was.
He was not feeling that great. She
Yes.
had like some, and this is, I have complete sympathy for this because my ankle tendons were screaming too. There's just so much concrete that like
Mm.
you can get that anterior tibialis tendon tweaked really easily, and she did. So she was really not happy afterwards, but
Yeah.
she's a gamer, so
Yes.
she won her race. Her husband, Chris Belvey, was there. He
hmm
came in third, I think, in his 48 hour.
Yeah. And first place in the 48 hour was Cole Crosby.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and Cole was there, and Cole laid down some miles. He did like 227, I think, in 48
No,
hours.
he didn't. He did
224. Yeah.
224,
Yeah.
which
120.
48 hours. So what is that? Anna, you're kind of like a smarty pants. What's 224 divided by 2?
Oh, 112.
Yeah, yeah. So
Wow.
that's like I think he's kind of trolling me with that because that's like my 24-hour PR. So he did that for 48 hours. So I don't know if that means that I don't know what that means, right? I'm not going to draw conclusions. So I'm inconclusive. So, but congratulations to him for for doing that. I don't think I think that he felt that he could have gotten more somehow. Whatever. If things
Well,
had
he had a
gone
few
exactly.
mishaps.
Yeah.
The first night when it was really windy,
Mm-hmm.
there
He
was
wore
a
parachute,
fence
right? And that
on
was a bad
the
move.
backside of the course that
Sorry.
they had like this
Oh shit! Yes, yeah. Go
this
ahead.
stuff along the fence that was like to make it more like a fabric along the fence, and I think that the fabric got caught in the wind and pulled the fence right down
Yes,
on Cole.
yes. It
Oh,
hit.
yeah.
He said that he got hit. It hit his foot.
Yeah, he
Like
got hit in
one of the
foot.
metal barricades actually hit his foot and hurt.
Yeah,
He got injured there, so a little bit.
but I think like something else happened to him too. It was an adventure for Cole.
Yeah. Oh,
Like,
he was. That's where I heard baseball dust.
yeah.
I think he used the term baseball dust.
I don't blame him for complaining about it though, because I felt like like I was blowing my nose and it was brown because of the dust.
Yeah.
It was tough. Cole looked great out there. Mount Coast has a big presence at that race,
Mm-hmm.
and I think he's like associated with that brand,
He is. Yeah.
and so he was running like with their gear on and everything, but he looked really good. When
It's nice looking
an
gear.
old plodding guy and you're watching like the younger like guys who are like sort of tiptoeing along the course, it makes you envious. Like,
Yeah.
I wish I could tiptoe like Cole.
Yeah. We all do, right?
Yeah.
So no, Cole's he's a great runner, and that
Yes.
sounds like a good a basic should be a pretty good venue for him too. So
Yeah.
So all right. Any other any other things to add with that? John Giesler was there, right?
Giesler was there. Yep.
Yeah. And he did really well too, right? He got
He's
like
amazing. I think he
top
has
10,
over
I think.
5,000 miles at that race over the
Yeah.
years because he's done it so many times.
Yeah.
He was using cheat sticks for a lot of it because
Huh.
he's really bent over now at this
Yeah.
point in his career, but he is relentless. He's so focused and he stays out on the course so many hours
Mm.
and just keeps clicking off the miles.
Yeah.
He's always like a jokester and he's in a good mood and
Mhm.
he's very personable.
Wow. Jeez. Well, congratulations to him and congratulations to you as well, Phred. That's something. 19 years of 100 milers. Like certainly most people have not done 1900 milers over any period of time. even
Awesome.
even if they just stacked them up in 1 year, right? So, but the consistency of throwing that over. Hold it. So you even did that in 20. Oh, so you did that in 2021
The
too.
fall of 2021, I did one. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. All right. And during 2020, you did, because you did the well, you probably did a couple that year, but
I also
you did
QT 104 with
QT 104 in the double cut. Right?
Yes, in the double cut. Yeah.
So, okay, great. Well, I'm jealous there. I would be thrilled to be able to run a mile these days. So, that's congratulations to you there. So
Just think of how good it'll feel when you can do it again. Right?
yeah, it will.
Food
So,
for the soul. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. So like you said, March.
Yeah. I'm supposed to go like, something like March is, I don't want to like, I'm going to just take an aid station to aid station. I'm not like worried about how long it's going to be, so right now I'm just starting physical therapy. Fortunate enough to be out of the sling. I can walk. I bought a spin bike at home. So, that thing, I don't even know. I had no idea what I was buying when I bought it. I've never been on a spin bike before. So this thing has like a flywheel. You start pedaling this thing, and it, like, if you try to stop, it wants to throw you across the room. So so that's been fun to kind of figure that out. And I got to get the seat figured out on it. But there's some work to be done there. So that's fun.
Do you have a plan for like what you're going to do on the bike? Are you going to, go through some beautiful scenery and some video, or are you going to, what are you going to do while you bike? I'm always like, I struggle with what should I do while I'm on this bike.
I have no idea. Like, if you guys if you have any ideas, like, just let me know. I mean, I've already watched all of the Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like 10, 12 of them, I think, like in the last couple of weeks. So I'm hearing like lightsabers in my sleep and and trombone, and trombone. So let's see, we got a lot to cover tonight still. So I want to keep the train on the track. So next up, wanted to talk about the real King of Pain. So the regular King of Pain is a race that started, I'm going to say that it, just for fun, that it started around 2004. And it was a road race, a 10-mile road race in Glastonbury as part of a 5-race series that Mike Keenan and Jay Sattler put on. And it was the Glastonbury Summer Series. And they just picked the hardest 10 miles that they could find on roads in Glastonbury. So it went up, it just goes around the orchards and hits every hill that it can find. And in some cases, you go up in a neighborhood, hit the top of the hill, and then it just like, you go around the block and it sends you right back down to the bottom of the hill, where then you turn around and you come back up the hill. So it's nasty. We used to do it in the middle of the summer, and it was really hot. Now they make it in the winter. So it's put on by Glastonbury River Runners. So if you want to run a fun, challenging road race, that's a good one to do. If you want to try something that's a little bit more fun, in my opinion, you could do the real King of Pain. So the real King of Pain is basically a trail run that starts an hour before the King of Pain race. It has twice the elevation and 2 to 4, depending on what the weather is like, 2 to 4 river or stream crossings. One of them is generally thigh deep, pretty fast moving, icy. It's this is happening on February 8th. So it is it's generally pretty cold at that time of year. So it's a nice it's a nice challenge to do this. We do it at a relaxed group pace, and we basically run out on power lines. We follow the power lines up to the highest part of the King of Pain road race, and we get there in time to hand out water to the first the leaders of the race. And then we kind of hang out there for most of the field comes through. and then just have a blast manning that aid station. And then we run back, and then we go over to where the race has their post-race party, and we kind of hang out with them. So you get all the benefits of the race support without having to pay the $50 or whatever the race fee is. So, and you get twice the elevation, same distance, and a nice trail run with some friends. So, and bragging rights, because then you can really douche canoe around that party saying, yeah, that was nice what you guys did. Yeah, we saw you up there. But yeah, what did there weren't, how many stream crossings? Oh, you guys didn't have any. Okay, that's all right. It's, so we've always had some fun with that and gotten some good eye rolls from people, as we have a good time with them. So because of my shoulder, I won't be doing it this year. Hopefully, I think Anna's going to probably step up there. We'll kind of see. She's got some other, like, you're going to be doing frozen snot the day before. Is it the day before? Is that right?
It's the day before. Yes.
Wow.
I'll have it in my maybe category. Although I did really enjoy it the year that I did it, which was I think 2 years ago. It was really a great time. So I'm I'll hope in my head that I'll be able to do it, but I will have done this relatively challenging event the day before. So
it is more than relatively challenging. That is a very tough race from everything that I hear, the frozen snot. So, but at any rate, we'll have some people who have done this, know their way around. I have all the GPX files and things like that, and I'll throw something up on Facebook. So check that out. Again, that'll be February 8th.
Can I give some advice based on
please.
the one time that I did it? Because when you get to the aid station, you've just run, and then you're standing for, what do you think, like 40 minutes or something like that?
Yeah, half an hour, 40 minutes. Yeah.
And it was very cold. So I remember that Jamie was on that run, and she took out some extra stuff, jacket, gloves, and all that kind of stuff. And she clearly had done it before, because she had a memory. Oh, I was really cold when I was standing around for 40 minutes. So if I do it again, and I'm sure I'll do it, maybe not this year, but another year, I'm definitely bringing some extra stuff in my backpack for that kind of hanging out period. So
throw your puffy in the back, and
exactly,
bring
extra gloves or mittens or something.
Yep. We have to talk about whether they're going to be Arctic mountain mittens or Gore-Tex, or what kind of mittens they are. So, which is probably so hopefully a lot of people come out and do that. It's one of the most fun things I think that we do all year. So
you can also take off your shoes when you go through the stream. That's what I did. And I was the only person that did that. I felt a little bit lame, but I felt really good when I put my shoes on.
There's a lot of ways, right? There's a lot of ways to get it done. So, all right. So that involves some extreme weather, I would say. Doing a stream crossing when you have to sometimes walk out a couple steps onto the ice and then have the ice break and have you fall through to the stream. It is pretty. It can get pretty raw. So next episode, we're going to be talking about some a step even beyond that. We're going to be talking with an author, Ty Gagney, who will be on the next episode. He's an author, and he's written a few books on the White Mountains and some of the tragedies that have happened on Franconia Ridge and Mount Washington, some other things like that. And we'll be talking about the critical decision-making processes and kind of what your brain goes through, and how do perfectly qualified, super healthy, ultra fit people get themselves into a position where they're not able to handle things, right? I mean, and not that that's that's not a dig on them. It's just kind of like, it's like an evil pathway, I think, of hypothermia, and like one small mistake can lead to major things, and this kind of shows no matter who you are. So we'll be really excited to be talking to him about, I've recently read a couple of his books, and it's quite fascinating stuff, and kind of maybe see what we can learn about the White Mountains. And, that'll be helpful for people who want to take it. The rest of the episode, we're going to be talking about basic, more or less running and trail running. But I kind of put, anything above tree line in a whole different category. So we're not going to really touch on that because that's a little bit too complex today. But we'll be talking about that and, the unpredictable weather of the White Mountains, which, involves, winds over 100 miles, sometimes wind chills of -60 or more, winds that just knock you physically knock you right over. Right. So we'll be talking about that. But in this episode, we do want to talk about winter running. So I want to start by asking you guys, what are your favorite local winter runs? Do you have a place that you guys like? What's your favorite winter run? Maybe Anna, we'll start with you. What do you think?
I do the same exact things in the winter, that I do in the summer. But what I love about winter running is that it just feels completely different. Nothing smell different. The way your body moves is different.
Mm-hmm.
Things look different, obviously, like beautiful glistening snow. So I kind of relish winter running. I probably prefer winter running to hot summer running. Like I really will go out in any kind of weather, including like below 10 degrees. So they also, as people say, it's just all about, your clothes. And I've invested a lot of time and energy into like the clothes and the gear and all that. So for me, I don't have any specific locations. I just continue to do the things that I like to do. Like I mean, I love going to Sleeping Giant, in general, but I especially love going when it has just, snowed and it is so beautiful in there. Like the shininess of the place is really magical. So yeah, I wear spikes. I wear Exo spikes. That's my like the thing I'm most often wearing. So I really feel like I can get anywhere, but I have everything else that I might need. If it's more icy, I would wear, micro spikes. So that wasn't a very good answer. I just do the things that I, like normally do, but I just do them in the winter.
All right.
So,
I just got redirected, right? So
I don't run on the road, so really at all. So like I'm not prevented from running. The reason is because the trail's really conducive, I think, to winter running. I should, in my experience.
So you won't run the roads at all in the winter?
I don't run the roads like at all ever.
Wow.
Basically.
Okay.
So like that's why I don't really change what I do, I guess, in the winter. I mean, I occasionally go to the Farmington Canal Path.
Yep.
But probably I'm less likely to go in the winter just because I don't really know like the situation and I don't really want to run on ice or anything. But I go there very rarely. So I'm almost always on like the trails. Like East Rock, I just went there this morning. And that's sort of like has some roady sections there are no cars there. But that I just did like a little bit on the road to get somewhere else, and it was actually in pretty good shape with again with spikes. So
gotcha. Phred, how about you? Do you have a favorite winter place that you like to run, or what's the deal?
Or I run the same place every day from when I'm home. I'm just too lazy.
You guys aren't fucking helping me here. I'm really trying.
My son gives me such a hard time.
Fucking makes we're supposed to make stuff up at this point. Like,
I know. Well,
I like to run rim to rim to rim, or so, I don't know. Like say something.
My son Ted is a city strider, and he's like,
okay,
living in Cheshire my whole life, and you've done like 10% of the town because you just won't like go like doing city strides. He said, as a New Year's resolution, at least every weekend day, you should go do some new streets. And I'm like, all right, because usually I go from my house down to the Farmington Canal Trail and I run on that, whether it's icy or snowy. They actually plow it in this part of Cheshire, in the center of Cheshire. And I usually just run on that. I'll wear spikes or something or screw shoes. And, and the one difference for me in the winter is I give myself grace to not care about my pace because I've fallen down trying to hurry, So I'm just like, you enjoy the beauty, go at a slower pace, and as long as you're wearing the right clothes, you're never cold. So
gotcha. See, I'm like, I can't do the same thing over and over again. I don't think I have a hard time with that. I mean, sometimes I can, but I really prefer not to. So like if I can ever, I used to run a lot of the same thing just because of my friends kind of, before we had GPS, that was kind of what we would do just because we knew what the mileage was sometimes. Um, and then we would also, I don't know, I just had friends who were very regimented as far as, yep, it's Tuesday, this is what we do. It's Thursday, this is what we do. And, but then I think that when it comes to like getting a long run in, especially like, I just like, if it's a weekend and I've run the same thing, I just don't want to go to my same place and run. So I always enjoyed my favorite run in the winter is to go to the mesh, to go to the forest, where there's big mountain roads, and even when there's a lot of snow, because sometimes if you wanted to get a good long road run in the winter, sometimes there's no shoulder, and sometimes there's snow banks or it's icy and cars could slide into you, and it's just kind of dangerous like that. So going to the mesh, I could at least run in the tire tracks on the mountain roads there, or find a snowmobile track, or just break my own trail somewhere, if there's if there's not a lot of snow. So the mesh was always my favorite long distance winter run. But Phred, so you or both of you guys mentioned traction. So maybe Phred, we'll start with you. Like, as far as like, you mentioned a couple different things that you've used for traction, screws and shoes and micro spikes. When and where do you use each of those?
I'll wear screw shoes on a lot of days where like getting out my driveway, I can see that the road just to get to the linear park is going to be questionable.
Mm-hmm.
But then the nice thing about having something like Yaktrax or something like that is that you can put them out and take them off. So
Mm-hmm.
you don't. So if part of your run is going to be questionable, that you can just bring them with you. So that's the switch there, or it depends on the weather. Sometimes nothing.
Yeah, gotcha. Where with screw shoes, you can't do that. But if you have, sometimes it's like, God, you go 100 yards and it's one thing, you go the next 100 yards, it's a different thing. And then you're going back and forth. So it's not practical to switch back and forth.
True. Just taking the Christmas Eve run like, for example, there was like a thin patina of ice on a lot of the road, but you didn't really need anything till we got to the hilly part.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it was the hilly part, I put on Yaktrax because I don't think I would have made it up there.
Yeah,
Regan
yeah.
did without Yaktrax, but Becky had them and Michelle had them, and most people did, I think, because it was icy and steep.
Yeah. No, that's I can see where that happens. So, when do you like to wear screws and shoes? Like, when does that tend to work for you?
The screw shoes, it doesn't feel that odd running on those. Like running on Yaktrax is awful.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you feel like there's like weird little plastic pillows underneath your feet or something.
Yeah.
And when I come in, if I don't take them off immediately, like there's a rug in our entryway that I've torn to shreds by hooking my Yaktrax in it. So yeah, so that's bad. But the screw shoes, like, it just feels like you're running on your shoes, only you have to be aware of the fact that you're going to wear them down over time.
So maybe I'll kind of give a summary of what we're even talking about, because a lot of people are going to know what we're talking about and some people aren't. So when we're talking about screw shoes, it's generally you take maybe an older pair of shoes, I guess, because it's not something that you use all the time or like every day, certainly, but take shoes that ideally have a little bit of a thicker sole too. And then you find a sheet metal screw, ideally 3/8 inch long.
3/8 inch hex head screw.
Yes. Yep. Like a sheet metal screw.
Yeah.
So this has like and you're going to just take it and you're going to take your driver, like your cordless drill or whatever, and not with a screwdriver in it, not with anything like that. If you just, those interchangeable screwdrivers, if you just pull that little hex head out of that thing, that screw will naturally fit right in there into the screwdriver holder, basically, if I'm explaining that right. And then with a drill, you can just, I put sometimes, 12 screws in the shoe, and on different spots, ideally not where the shoe is really thin, like up on the toe or something like that. You can get into trouble. I've certainly had bloody feet after this, but that's really the exception. I did a half marathon in them once that I hammered, at Colchester. I ran Colchester with screw shoes one time, raced it, and it was a tough day by the end. It saved me, but it also hurt me, just dealing with that. So those are really great, because if you have micro spikes and you try to run with those on the street, where there's no snow, not only is it uncomfortable, but it also starts to eat up your equipment pretty quickly. Like you're going to blunt those out. If you ever ran 5 miles and, in no snow on micro spikes, your feet would probably really hurt, and your spikes would probably be toast.
You just flushed like $75 down the toilet, probably.
Yeah, at least that these days. So, but when you put the sheet metal screws in your shoes, those are pennies, right? You can
perfect
get
for cheap people.
Yeah, you buy $5 worth of screws, you can put them in the bottom of your shoes, and that'll get you through 90. I've used those in deep snow, and gotten reasonably good results, to cover when you step through the snow and there's that puddle of ice, it just gives you that extra little bit of traction you need. And, and those are good. Another one is, if you get, Innovate makes an O-Rock Ultra that has titanium spikes in it too. It's just like an orienteering shoe that has these small titanium spikes in them. So those are good, but you definitely don't want to run on the roads with those, because they'll, although the heights self-adjust because of, the sole wears down, you'll be beating up your equipment with those. So that's an option. So Anna, you've mentioned, so you have some different spikes that are a little bit more aggressive than your typical. Catul is the the most common manufacturer of micro spikes, and those are probably 1/2-inch spikes that are triangle shaped, and chains, that go on your shoes, chains in a rubber structure. You use a different, you use some other things that are a little bit more aggressive, edging towards like a crampon. Maybe you could talk about those.
Well, I normally I don't wear micro spikes. I wear exo spikes. And
Okay.
I also have nano spikes.
Okay.
I have like every version of the thing, but I just want to, like, I'm normally not wearing micro spikes, and with exo spikes, which is like, I think it's like, nano spikes are kind of the least aggressive. Exo spikes, I think there's a new one, I can't remember the name of it.
The ghost,
then you get
like the Josh
the ghost ones,
yes.
right? And then you get micro spikes, and then I also have these things that I wore when I was with you in New Hampshire, the Hillhounds trail crampons. I also have like crampons, but I have every permutation. But what I find is very easy to use in sort of variable conditions are the exo spikes, and they're probably not that different from the screw shoes, because they're extremely, they're not very deep at all. But
gotcha.
They have amazing like catching capability, and so I do wear them. Like I as mentioned, I went to Easter Rock today. There was ice on the roads. I ran on the roads. I didn't take them off. I would never like take them off for a short bit of road, especially if there was like a little bit of ice. It doesn't really bother me, but I mean, I'm definitely not going for speed, so I just kind of like mosey along. But I don't wear. I just want to clarify. I don't wear micro spikes like hardly at all in Connecticut, because there are very few conditions. Like occasionally at Sleeping Giant, when there's full on like ice everywhere, that is when I would wear them, but that doesn't happen so often. So, but yeah, I don't know if you were referring to the trail crampons, the Hillsound trail crampons. Those are a little bit deeper than the micro spikes. But I just like in Connecticut, I'm not going to probably be wearing those, is my guess. So yeah, but I also like I always have my backpack with me, so I can easily take them off. Whatever I have on, I could just like stick in my back, and but I don't usually do that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Good. So I guess like the other thing I just wanted to talk about is like how to use these things, like besides like or how to best use them. Like so if you have a section of trail that you need to run that's on a the biggest like nail biter or these canted surfaces where there might be some flat rock that's on a it's a slight angle or maybe not so slight an angle that you have to get across and you're afraid that it's just going to sweep you down the hill. Now if you have spikes on, how would you tend to approach that? Would you try to tippy toe or would you try to set your spikes in some, or what would you, or would you butt slide? Or all of the above?
I found that the spikes are well, especially in that situation, it sounds like the micro spikes would be the best thing to have. I often, I mean, if I'm worried about what I need, I would bring both. And in fact, for the frozen snot race, you are required to bring spikes. Like it's a race gear requirement.
Oh, gotcha.
And
Yeah.
I just feel like if I encounter ice, I will just walk across it. Like I feel like I have confidence that they do really, really work. I mean, if it was pure ice, like I said, I would ideally have the micro spikes, but I would just walk across. I would just do my like normal thing. I think I don't think I would worry.
Okay.
I don't think I would like change my gait or anything. I do have my
Gotcha.
dog a lot of the time,
Oh, okay.
and the dog has like natural
Yeah.
spikes, right? So she can kind of go wherever too. And but that I do have to like occasionally worry about balance because she's on a leash, a waist leash,
Yes.
and she is a force that might move in a direction that's different than I would, but we've got it kind of down at this point. So
Gotcha.
yeah.
I find for myself that sometimes I feel like I need to kick in just for that extra bit of confidence, on ice to make sure that I'm not going to slide sideways. So if I like stamp down on it a little bit, it makes me feel like I'm better attached, that I'm not going to just skate over the top, because I don't want to just, I don't want to skate over the top. I want to like
Right.
I want to attach myself and move across without slipping. All right, let's talk about Gore-Tex, right? So do you guys wear Gore-Tex or not, like on your feet?
I just wore my Gore-Tex Peregrines today. They were great.
Okay.
Like it was, there was snow on the ground and I didn't feel a thing.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I'm a fan of like in certain conditions wearing the Gore-Tex sneakers. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Phred, what are you saying? I hear you saying no.
You saw me saying no. Yeah,
I saw. I visually heard you.
I have. I mean, years ago, I had a complete Gore-Tex running suit, but I've never worn Gore-Tex shoes. I just it's. I've never really worried about my feet, although I have like seen some people who like have been in conditions where they like their feet got wet and then it got super cold and they got frostbite and stuff like that. I've never had a problem with my feet in the cold, so I don't worry about having Gore-Tex. I'm always afraid that they're not going to breathe as much, so I just wear regular shoes.
Yeah, I have to say that I'm kind of more of a recent convert to it, I guess, but I've always been like, and I've run a lot and again, this is not backwoods stuff and this is what the thing that I need immediately. Could each of you guys give a disclaimer about how this is not, your actual mileage and experience on the trail may vary and we're not responsible for any injury or thereofs and stuff like that? Anybody want to take a stab at that?
Art is guaranteeing that everything he says is 100% accurate. And if you have a problem with that, you should contact him at Pippin Drive East, I believe.
Speak to my lawyer, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we got that out of the way.
Yeah.
Anna, you want to add anything? Do you concur?
I have a trouble. I love to encourage people to do winter adventure. Like this is a problem for me.
So nothing
I don't know
can
how to
go
handle
wrong.
this question. Yeah.
Okay, so nothing can go wrong.
My goal in life is to get more people out in the winter, but I shouldn't say that. I guess
Okay.
that's a terrible thing to say. So yes, don't. I don't know. You have to be prepared. You do have to be prepared.
Yeah.
And you know what? Here's what I would say: like, go out with other people who have more experience than you if you aren't used to winter adventure.
There you go. That
That's
is
a great
good
advice, right? Start with baby steps, and then
Yeah,
that's right.
and don't
But
bite off something that
just
you
a
know
second,
you
just a
can't
second.
do. All right.
And by baby steps, we don't mean bring your baby out into the cold, okay? 'Cause, right?
Not necessarily. Although
Yeah.
babies apparently sleep quite well in the cold. That's what I've heard, that the
Yeah.
Norwegians
Okay.
keep them in cold rooms. Yes.
but
Okay.
I've also learned that not everyone loves winter adventure, so which is completely fine. I
Yeah.
just me personally, I love winter adventure, and so I am very enthusiastic about it. But I feel like I have gotten the sense that for some people that's not their thing, and that obviously is completely cool.
Yeah. If they want to be losers, sure. Yeah. Okay. I gotcha. Yep. That makes sense. I'm with you on that. So yeah, I always thought that like Gore-Tex for me was going to be a bad idea because I ended up like, we do the end to end and I run through the tubes and I have water up over the tops of my shoes anyway. So why do I care if my feet get, or, if my feet are going to get wet, don't I want them to drain, right? And Gore-Tex is not going to really drain. So, but then somebody mentioned, well, yeah, it could be wet, but it will be warm wet, or warmer wet. So I don't know. I think that you kind of have to experiment, and there's certainly some times when it might make more sense. And sometimes it's going to make more sense. Like if you're in a position where you can just keep your feet dry with Gore-Tex, they are pretty nice. Like I've had Gore-Tex boots that got me through some streams, right? Where now I don't have to worry about walking on top of the rocks to keep my feet dry, because I just know that like, that's why I got my boots. I can go right through a puddle. I don't have to, I don't care about it. I can just go through whatever. Right. Where otherwise that could be a problem. Right. So, but generally in the summer, not at all, like I generally want them to drain, I'll take a draining shoe any day, but in the winter, it's certainly a question to think about. As far as hands or feet, like you guys have issues with your hands or your feet, which more, which is more likely to bother you, hands or feet?
I don't really generally. I have various options that I bring with me. I don't usually have a problem with my hands. But I suppose my hands are more sensitive to the temperature than my feet, I think. Like I will change the weight of my wool sock depending on like how cold it is. But I feel like once I'm running, my feet are warm. Does that make sense? Like they must get warm just by or running or hiking or whatever it is I'm doing. Like I just feel like they're active enough that they're not cold for the most part.
Yeah. That's the weird thing about running versus hiking, I would say, is that running seems self-evident, but that it's more active in a lot of ways. Like, because you're, the like, I always felt like in running, I didn't mind if I got as sweaty because I felt like I was going to be lighter anyway. And that like the really cold times I've had like, an underlayer and the sweat goes through and sticks to the inside of the shell or whatever, it kind of works its way right through and I didn't feel like I was wet somehow, if that makes any sense, until I stopped, and stopping's always a different thing. But, hiking, sometimes you get into conditions where you may say you want to keep going and you want to keep moving, but like you might have to stop and might not be able to work as hard as you want, because maybe it's somebody else who has to stop, or maybe you're waiting for somebody, or maybe you're crossing a stream, or going down a hill that you can't bomb because you have to take each step to make sure you're not going to end up in the down at the bottom of the hill. So I don't know, it's kind of more variable, where running seems like a standard, more of a steady, reliable formula for me. The hiking kind of throws me off a little bit, I think, or I'm just not dialed in yet.
Yeah, I will say though, like I should test this out more. There's a point at which you don't want to be sweating. You did mention sweating just then, but I did personally experienced, a couple of under 10 degrees days. And I said, I'm not going to run because I don't know what will happen. Like I prefer not to be sweaty in 8 degrees.
Yeah.
And if I just like hike, fast enough, like I'll keep my body warm, but I won't be sweating. But I should test that out because I feel like maybe I wouldn't even sweat. I don't, I don't,
Mm.
I just actually I just was cross country skiing with my son for like 2.5 hours. There
Hmm.
was quite a lot of stopping and it was quite cold. It was in Vermont. So I don't actually remember what it was, but it could have been like 12 degrees or something like that. But
Mm.
I actually like I hardly sweat. So I was very intrigued by that. But anyway, it's like a kind of a study meant to happen, sort of how much are you sweating? Is it how bothersome is it in that very
Mm.
cold environment?
Yeah.
How does hiking or running affect like how much you sweat?
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah. Interesting.
I know that they have these races in, Minnesota and Wisconsin in the winter time.
Hmm.
Excuse me, my friend Steve did an 80-mile race in Wisconsin, and he had to stop for a couple hours because he sweated too much. It was like 10 below, and he gets to an
Mm.
aid station and he goes inside, and he was too sweaty, and he would, like he could not continue until he completely dried himself off, changed his clothes, and then he could continue.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to be sweaty when it's 10 below. It's really not
Yeah.
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
good scene.
It's funny races like that. It does seem
Tuscobia,
like
that was the name of it.
gotcha.
Tuscobia.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tuscobia. They seem like they're operating in slow motion to me for some reason. Like, oh my God, I sweat out. So therefore, like a half an hour from now, I'm going to be, or an hour from now, I'm going to be in trouble. Like
Yeah.
instead of like, you know, I don't know, running seems like, I don't know, like you
Well,
burn the fuel so fast that like if you have to eat every hour, right? Because if you're running, like hiking, I could probably go a period of time, or I hear all the time people get in trouble. Oh, I didn't eat or whatever. Like running, it like hits you over the head, right? And says, okay, I'm out of fuel. I'm bonking. I know that right away, but hiking, it might not be, I don't know. It seems like the stuff's harder to access and it's, I don't know. There's a lot of things going on, but those are probably good questions for Ty to kind of talk to him
yeah.
about. But um, so do you guys ever feel like you've like really been able to dial in you've like Anna, maybe you just experienced this. Have you ever really dialed in the proper clothing for the weather?
I have spent like a lot of years and probably money, I guess, on like various wool layers of
Yeah.
varying weights. So I feel like I have a lot of options at my disposal after all these years of collecting these things.
Hmm.
So I do feel like because I'm out in the winter, like I really go out in the winter all the time. Like I over the last many years, like I kind of know what I need to wear. I have my rules, like when do I wear
Yeah.
shorts? When do I wear like just a shirt and a midweight merino wool long sleeve shirt. Like I have my own personal rules, but I
Hmm.
also, I run warm, so they're not the rules for everybody. They're just like the rules for me personally. Yeah,
But
so
let's
yeah.
talk. I'd like to talk about those because I think that's helpful. Like, it's really one thing to say, oh, I just whenever it's cold, I wear this. But like, what is your overall like? If you have a strategy or something like that, are you able to kind of explain like your thought process? I mean, and it doesn't have to be unique because like everybody probably has some sort of a spin on this, on how they
Yeah.
approach things. But and some people have heard it, I've heard different layering strategies and things like that, and others maybe not so much. So maybe you could kind of explain it like we've never heard it before.
Yeah, well, one thing I just would mention is since I mentioned I do carry a backpack, like my running pack all the time.
Hmm.
I'm not a runner who's just going out with like no options outside of what I'm wearing. So I always kind of carry my options. Um, yeah, and if you're asking me what my rules are, I mean, I do wear shorts usually above 30 degrees. Between
Hmm.
30 and 40, I wear wool knee highs. Above 40, I'm just wearing, the shorts and like the regular socks. And then I have like a very heavy weight of leggings that I wear between like a 15 and below, and kind of mid-weight leggings, the ones I gave to your significant other, that I wear
Yes.
between like 15 and 30. And so I have, like 4 different lower body options. And then on the upper body, I have probably like 3 or 4 different weights of wool. I rarely wear a jacket, right, or anything like that. I just more
Hmm.
wear more like different weights of wool, and then I pull them off if I'm hot. I just like pull them off, and then I have some. I wear smart wool liner gloves, which I wear almost all the time, except for when it's very cold and I have a heavier mitten.
Hmm.
And then hat, I have my smart wool, thin wool hat, and a heavier one if it's, probably below 20 degrees. So I don't know if that's too much detail, but I mean, I really enjoy thinking about this.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah, I
a
can
fun
tell.
game to me. And
Gotcha. Yeah.
so I'm not bothered by it. I think it's kind of like more what will happen, how will it go? But at
Hmm.
this point, I do just follow the rules, and it usually goes okay because I follow my rules that I've
So,
honed over the years for me. Yeah,
so I've heard the expression you want to start cold, right? So if you're standing around in a
exactly.
circle with your
Yeah.
friends before the run, you don't want to be necessarily all bundled up unless you have something that you're going to instantly take off and just like throw right in your pack immediately. But um so what do you think it is? Like, you think it's 20 degrees? Is that the magic number? You think like dressing 20 degrees colder than the temperature is, or warmer, excuse me?
Oh, interesting. Well, I was going to say the problem that you just described for me is around when it's around 40 degrees. When it's
Mm,
around 40 degrees, I'm tempted to wear hat
yeah.
or gloves and like the windbreaker kind
Mm,
of, the Houdini or something like that.
yeah, yeah.
But I know in 5 minutes after starting the ramble, I'm going to want to take all those things off. Right? You're describing for me what happens around 40 degrees, which is I
Yeah.
just got to think about 5 minutes ahead for when I'm like, oh, let me take all this stuff off because I don't need it. So I don't know how that equates to the difference in degrees, but
Yeah.
um,
For me, it's funny that you mentioned 40 degrees because 40 degrees is, to use a golf analogy, that would be my 100-yard pitching wedge shot, right? My approach shot, the one shot that I have just, if I'm 100 off, I sound like I can actually play golf. Okay. I can talk some shit here though, but if I'm 100 off, I know that if I pull this club out of my bag and swing it, it's going to get me reasonably close. And quite often I'm going to be right at the pin. And it's those weird other things. But 40 is my, I can wear shorts. I
uh,
can wear long sleeves. I can wear light gloves and a cap, and I'm good to go. That's 40
yeah.
degrees all day. I can run a marathon in that. I can run whatever I need to in that, a 5K in that. So, or maybe 5K, I go lighter than that, but, and then add on from there. Right. Um, so I don't know. I think whatever it is for each of us, I think that it's important to kind of establish something that you can latch onto, because what has gotten me in trouble, and all my friends, we always joked about this, we would meet at 5 o'clock in the morning in the winter. And the problem is that you wake up and you just go outside and you get in your car and you go to drive, and it's just like you're instantly thinking, oh God, this sucks. I just want to like throw on a jacket and I want to throw on too much clothes. And my mantra to everybody was trust the thermometer. If it says it's 40 degrees, even though it looks like it's worse, you want to have a plan B, but you're not going to start out with that. Trust the thermometer. Know that 40 degrees, unless it's super windy or raining or something like that, 40 degrees is 40 degrees. So go with it and just trust that your gloves, your long sleeves, and your shorts and your cap are going to work just like they do every other time.
Mhm.
Be don't baby yourself into a long, you know, into getting dehydrated because you put on a raincoat or something like that. So, um, so Phred, how about you with shorts? Where do you, what's your temperature when you go to tights?
I don't wear tights.
Okay, you're a real man.
No, I wear loose pants. I don't wear tights.
Okay. All right.
But it's 40 degrees. It used to be like low 40s, like 42 or something like that, but then I would just be too hot.
Yeah.
I've oftentimes struggled with like overdressing before my run and
Mm.
having stuff wrapped around my waist by the time I was finishing. But
Yeah.
40 is become the switch between pants and shorts.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I always feel like I'm better off if it's 40 down. For me, it's probably 32, 30 or something, because I always feel like I'd rather put a puffy jacket on and run in shorts than
Yeah.
run in long pants, or run in, run in tights or whatever. So I always try to throw the extra layers up top instead of wearing the longer pants, because I think those really slow me down unless they're real tights, unless they're like a racing tight like pants. As much as most of the time that's what I'm wearing because I don't care how fast I run usually, but they do slow you down, and they're harder to you know they're harder to deal with,
No, I think
especially.
they definitely slow you down, and they
Yeah.
mentally they feel like you're going much slower because there's much more resistance there. But
Yeah.
that's part of me giving myself grace in the wintertime. See, if I put on long pants, I'm like, oh, I don't have to care about how fast I'm going.
Mm.
It's not me.
That's fair.
It's the
That's fair.
pants.
Just don't wear corduroys, right? It drives your friends crazy, so
Yes.
they don't want to hear all that. um so how about when it gets really cold, right? And you're trying to and you have hydration and stuff like that. Have you guys ever froze your bottles off? Yeah. And so what did Phred maybe talk about that? What's happened to you with that?
A couple of times at the frozen fat ass out on the Cape, the bottles froze. And
Uh-huh.
honestly, there wasn't, I mean, people have strategies. You can like take one bottle. I mean, I have a vest with front bottles. You can take a
Uh-huh.
bottle and like put it inside your jacket or
Mm-hmm.
something. But mostly I would just wait until I got to the aid station and just drink something there. But you could be in a situation where you need to keep your water from freezing. And um, there are various strategies. I ran into some guy who said he put a little bit of vodka in his water and that helped it not freeze, but I don't
Hello.
recommend that. I think that's probably not a good fix, but you know.
Yeah. I mean, that's depends on what your goals are, right?
Yes, yeah,
So
exactly.
Well, I did that actually in like an 8 degree hike at some point. I remember a sleeping giant, and it was very minimal amount, right? Like it was purely
it
for
wasn't a
the
problem. You could
yeah, it
stop at
wasn't
any
a
time, right?
problem. So it did work. It did work though. But I would reserve that probably for these like under 10 degree kind of situations. Um,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. I've had that with years ago. I remember the first time it happened to me. I had a fuel belt on back when fuel belts were cool. And
Wait a minute. They were never actually cool.
no, they
They
were.
were ubiquitous for a while, but they were never cool.
I thought they were cool. It was before everybody had them. um, everybody else was using Aunt Jemima jugs, and I came out with my fuel belt, so I thought I was cool. So and I squeezed out a drink, and then the air bubbled back into it, and it just like froze it. The thing just turned to a slushy. So it was a pretty cold day there, to say the least. Um,
So I was just curious, do you like, I feel like my interest in drinking is very minimal anyway in the winter. You know what I
mm,
mean? I mean, like I'm almost like not even inclined to drink any water, which is not, I'm not encouraging that at all. It just sort of
we're discouraging that,
yeah,
actually.
what happens. And it doesn't help that it's hard to get the water out of a flask or whatever. So like actually how much do you think how much less water do you think you drink, let's say on a 2 hour run than in the fall? Like,
Yeah, I drink, like, here's the thing. When it's hot, it's like all bets are off. I can't
right.
drink enough. I just it cannot be done. Like if I run 100 in the and it's the heat, I just know that it's just going to be survival through the day, and that I wait until the night to where I can rehydrate, because I sweat more than I sweat a lot. Um, like the fall compared to the winter, it's about the same. It's a little bit less, but I think everything that I've read, at least, um, talks about the need to hydrate in order to prevent hypothermia. And how having, you don't want lower blood volume, and you don't want, you need to stay, if you all of a sudden dehydrated, it affects you mentally, right? And then you put cold on top of that, and that affects you mentally. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever had this, where you're running in the cold and you think you're fine, and then all of a sudden you go to say something to somebody and you're like, and you're just like, it's when it's that cold, I think it takes a lot out of your whole body. So I try to drink as much as, I try to keep it in mind, because it's not you know, you're still breathing, and, just respiration. And I tend to sweat anyway. It doesn't matter how cold it is. I'm still probably going to sweat, to a certain degree. So, so I think, at least on paper, it's important. And everything that I'm reading all these stories about tragedies in the whites and stuff like that. And that's a common thread, is that, like, oh my God, these people were super athletes, but they didn't really hydrate too well, or they didn't eat enough. Like, what do you think? Like, they tripped up on the baby stuff, the stuff the soft skills that we think that we take for granted, or that in running, there's little consequence, there's like, well, it might ruin your race, right? Or impact your race, but in hiking, yeah, it might kill you. So I do try to stay hydrated, so as much as I can. So you guys go for long runs in the winter, or how's that going for you? Or do you just like tend to not really think that's a good idea for the most part?
Fred, do you want to go? Or I feel like I haven't been doing long runs lately, but I do have an event coming up, so I plan to do a bunch of long runs in the next month. Not that long, but like multi-hour type things. I feel like, I've had some really good experiences with longer runs. Art, I'm thinking of the AT marathon. That was pretty,
Yeah.
that was around. I looked at I looked at my Strava. I was curious what the temperature was. It was around, I think it was like the 30s, and it was
Oh,
kind of
okay.
wet, right? And it was like
Yeah.
8 hours. So
Hmm.
that was, I think, a good test for cold, long something, Um, and I actually remember feeling really cold after that. At the
Yes.
end of
Yeah.
that, I was very cold. I
Yeah.
think because of the wet did not help.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think that I don't think that the cold would prevent me from doing like something that was 2 or 3, 4 hours. Like,
Yeah.
I would find that to be generally fun.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So I want to talk about that in just a little bit. Fred, how about you? You do
I've not been
longer
running
stuff?
long recently, but
Uh-huh.
I getting back to where we were about the sweating. I used to like to run 2 or 3 hours in the winter,
Mm.
um, at basically any temperature, but you have to be able to manage your clothing choices so
Mm.
that you don't like get home and you like all of a sudden you like your top weighs 10 pounds because it's all sweaty, but you're chilled and like you feel terrible for the last hour. You don't want that. So you
Yeah.
have to be able to manage so you don't over sweat.
Yeah.
Unless you're like gonna circle around to your car and swap out your clothes and you know do it that way.
Mm. Yeah. I think that the part that's gotten me, and where I've gotten burned more times than any, is when I stop.
Oh yeah.
We did the end to end, and you know what? I got into a cold car, and we just had to go. And it really is like, after a run, it's only I probably have 15 minutes, I'd say, after a run, if it's cold out, before that temperature cools off. And then once it gets there, it hits me hard. I can really get taken down by the cold. So that I got, luckily we were going to a Dunkin' Donuts. I ordered the food at Dunkin' Donuts at the counter, and then I didn't move from the counter because I was so cold I couldn't leave the counter, and I ate the food right at the place where you order the food, right at the Dunkin' Donuts thing, just like shaking and kind of like all muddy and drizzly and snotty, and it was a good look.
Did you have clothes that you could change into, or
I did, yes. See, this was my first real run that was not like a race or anything. It was like self-supported and logistics. So I had all the clothes that I needed to wear back in my car 50 miles away.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't like the logistics, thinking it through, like, oh, I'm going to finish the race here. Okay. And then I'm going to eat something. Oh, but I don't have anything to eat because that's there. And then I have all my stuff in my car, right? Where else would you want it? Oh, in the other guy's car. Oh,
at least you didn't leave your car keys in your car, like in some of the wrong place.
That kind of stuff has happened. Not to me so much, but I've helped more than one friend by driving out, in the middle of a long run to help them figure it out. I also basically on Mid-State Massive at mile 50, I stopped at that aid station and started to work on my feet, have some, looking at blisters and stuff like that. 50 miles in, and it was like almost midnight, and I got cold. And I got cold and I didn't eat. So I learned that, like, what I really learned from that is that when I come into the aid station, even if I'm going to do something else, the first thing I got to do is eat, just to clear up my head so that I can think, and then get a jacket on immediately, and maybe not even in that order. If a jacket is handy, I should put that on, but I should make sure that I, take care of the immediate things first, and really having that puffy to bring out. If you're going to be in an aid station for more than just a couple minutes, like, popping that coat on makes all the difference in the world, but I think when I get cold and tired, I just get lazy. I'm like, yep, I'm just like, I'm too tired to get my jacket out. I'm too cold to put on my jacket, So that's good hypothermic thinking,
Yeah, that's when your brain starts failing you.
Yeah, right? Yeah. So let's see. So what other things do you guys think about? Like, you have any other things that you think we're not talking about that we should?
I was just going to mention, I feel like I didn't, one thing that I tried to do personally is just take advantage of other sort of winter sports, right? Like, to the extent there's snow on the ground, enough snow on the ground here. I mean, I would like take my cross country skis to a golf course or West Rock or something. Like, I mean, I don't do it as much as I'd like, partially because there's not usually enough snow, but I kind of divert my energy to other things than running in some ways in the winter, or snowshoes, or, I brought them out again, not that often because there's not enough snow, but to like, I feel like I'm really looking forward to those events so that I can use these other, use this other equipment that I have.
These other skills.
Changes things up. And like, that makes me look forward to winter, is just those other sports. That, I mean, downhill skiing is like another thing, which, you have to go to the place. Like, I'm in North Haven. Like, I don't live so close to, a ski mountain. I do like to downhill ski, but these other activities, like, I can do, 7 minutes from my house. So that is just another way that I experience winter, and I like it for that reason.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, I think that's key. And that's one thing that I'm amazed by, is that, like, there's running, and then you kind of discover racing, and that's like a whole new world. Then you discover trails, that's a whole new world. And ultras, that's a whole new thing. And then all of a sudden, this winter activity like snowshoeing and mountaineering, it's just like a whole nother skill set and stuff that I haven't figured out, and that I don't know, that I know compared to what I know about the other stuff. I don't know anything about it, so there's so much to learn, and so many mistakes to be made, but it's also kind of cool because it's really risky, so it's very exciting, and as you know, I take it very conservatively, but
Yeah.
still it's like, yeah, okay, yeah, let's not fuck this up.
There's one more activity that actually probably, I'm assuming, helps one on long runs. I don't know for sure, but I'm just guessing here. Which is, you can start doing cold plunges, and then you kind of can acclimate yourself to being really cold. So I don't do it that much, but I am like part of a local cold plunge group here, and I do occasionally like to do that because I feel like it desensitizes you to the cold.
Wow.
Obviously, because it's
Phred,
cold water in the winter. So.
Phred is agreeing, and he wants to know the details.
Do you want to come to the cold plunge?
I do not. Twice in my life, I dived into like wintertime ocean water, and
Yeah.
it was bracing. It was really
Yeah.
something. I haven't done it in about 15 years though.
It's so counterintuitive, because you would think, oh, I'm going to do this and it's going to be cold, and it is cold. Okay, let's not ice coat it here or sugar coat it. But once you get out, it's even colder. No.
Yes, no, exactly. That's exactly right. It is, and you might be in your warm car, but you are like shivering. You have you put on all the clothes, you put on all the blankets or whatever, and you're like in your car, like your teeth are chattering, as you're driving home.
I found actually, and I haven't done a cold plunge in a while, but just a cold shower, even, like the water hits you and it's like, it's brutal. And then you just kind of, once you deal through it and then you get out of the shower, I don't feel cold. I feel actually less cold than I do getting out of a warmer shower. So.
Oh.
I don't know. I'm not a favor of cold showers. I liked diving into the water better and just running back out. Like the
screaming and running out
seems like it takes much more mental power.
It does. It does. And that's the beauty of it, is that when you're saying, I don't know, when you're saying like, bring it on, it's kind of like approaching a run, like getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. Right. And saying, okay, I'm cold. Let's understand what this sensation is. You could tie that into mindfulness, and there's some mental, I think there's a big mental part to that, is that, certainly if you're in a cold shower, it's impossible to be detached from the physical sensation of this. And I think that anytime you're able to have that sole focus on a physical sensation, it connects parts of your brain that are not normally connected. So, and I think that it can, I don't know, I think that it's euphoric in some ways. So,
yeah. Well, you guys, I mean, you have tremendous experience with these very long distances, and I mean, you're experts at being uncomfortable, right? So, just a different kind of discomfort, but a general, emotion or like feeling that you're familiar with. I'm assuming
it's the voluntary discomfort, right? Like, it's one thing to be like, if somebody's hurting you, there's nothing worse than that. But like, when you are the one that is inflicting the pain, it becomes more, I don't know. It's a different approach, I guess, so, Phred, do you have any closing arguments here?
It hurts so good, right? Is that what you're saying?
Pretty much, yes. I think so. That's exactly, yeah, hurts so good. That's a different race that we'll talk about sometime. So,
so Steve and Oak and Law Dog are going up to Wisconsin this weekend to run the St. Croix 40, which is it's a 40 miler, but it's like sort of a precursor to the longer winter races where you have to start the race in your bivy sack. You have to pull a sled, and like halfway through the race, you have to stop and make a fire before you're allowed to continue. So it's like it's teaching you winter survival.
I like this.
Yeah.
You have to make a fire using no equipment or like,
The equipment that you brought,
oh,
because
you can
there's
bring
a
equipment to
mandatory
make a
equipment
fire.
list.
Okay.
Like a
Yeah.
flamethrower,
Okay.
or
You just have to make it work. You're like,
I
it's
watch a lot of Survivor, and there's a whole thing
Well, you're
about
not
making
like
fire.
that.
So I just wanted to understand. Like,
hold it. What is this? So you were a fan of Survivor? Is that what you're
I
saying?
love the show Survivor. I mean,
Oh,
my family
okay.
like loves Survivor, so we have seen many fire challenges, and like many people
Oh,
struggle with making fire.
oh my
so
gosh.
so I just learned on Christmas Eve that Becky loves Survivor and has watched every episode of every year and made videos to try to get on Survivor. I had no
Oh
idea.
wow.
Yeah.
What?
You
I
didn't know
didn't
this
know that.
about
I
Becky?
didn't
She made
know.
it sound like
I knew
everybody knew
she
but
likes,
me.
she
She's like,
likes,
you
I know
didn't
she
know
likes the
that?
movie Alone. That's the one that I like. Have you guys ever seen that? That's
Yeah.
about like they take all these people, they take these people and each of them gets sent, they go to Canada and they drop them in the in the Yukon or something like that, and they're isolated from everybody else, and there's like bears there, and they have to like do woodcraft and build their own shelter. They get to choose a certain amount of items that they take with them. But then some people will choose for like, oh, I'll take a hatchet, I'll take an axe, or something like that, and then they have to like build their own shelters, hunt or make snares for their own food, and all this stuff like that. And it's just, and they don't know how long the other people, whoever lasts the longest gets $1 million. But in the meantime, the winter is setting in, so it gets extreme, and it's
Yeah.
but they have no idea how many people are left at any time. So, and all they have to do is tap out. So,
Well,
Huh.
have you read
I'll
the
have to check
Jack
that out.
London short story To Build a Fire?
I must have.
It's only about 10 pages. That should be
Huh.
your assignment. Go
I've
find that
Hmm.
story and read
Okay.
it.
I've read White Fang and Called
Well, this is
Wild.
like a 10-page short story about a guy who's out in the Yukon and
Oh,
he's stopping and he needs to build a fire.
yeah. I'm fascinated by fire building, though, I have to say. So as a pyromaniac as a kid, I did a lot of it. And then we heated our house with wood my whole life. And then as a scoutmaster, I had to teach it. And then I went to a conference, there's like an advanced course something called Wood Badge for scout leaders. It's like getting an Eagle Scout, the curriculum of an Eagle Scout, and you go through all this stuff. And one of the things that I had to do was build a fire for the whole group. So there was like probably 75 people there. And so if you can imagine that there's 75 scout leaders there, and you have to build I had to go and light my fire that I built. I set it up, and then it obviously had to be a one match fire. And it was one of those things to be able to set up the fire. So it was a lot of fun, and it worked. Spoiler alert, it worked. I got my one match fire going, but it was just the I don't know. It's a cool thing, and had many times with the scouts we'd go out. So Phred, where you ran your 50, or where you ran out on Cape Cod, right?
Yeah.
That race, whatever that's called.
The Frozen Fat Ass 50K.
On Sandy something. What's that called? Sandy Neck?
Beach,
Sandy Neck?
Sandy Neck.
Sandy Neck. We camped out at Sandy Neck, and it just rained the whole time, and our wood was absolutely soaked. And the scouts had to build. I mean, we had to cook our food, right? So they had to build a campfire, and we were all cold. So they, watching them getting ready to build a fire, as a team, was probably one of the most profound moments of my scout leadership, was watching, a group of kids, like knowing that like everybody's cold, and like if you build it too fast, like, and try to light it before you have enough kindling, and if you don't have the right kindling, it's not going to work. And if you give it too much air, it's going to blow out. Not enough, it's going to smother, and the whole thing like that. So it's a fascinating thing, fire building and all that stuff. So there. I don't know.
Sounds like you should. That sounds like you're a candidate for Survivor.
Yeah, except I'm too much drama. I'm like,
Oh, you'd be like amazing for
I
the
have hype
show.
on the
though.
train. Yeah,
Yes,
I'm
yes.
I'm
Oh my
tapping out.
God.
That makes for good television.
Yes,
does.
absolutely. I
It
mean,
does.
yes, it really does.
It would be fun. But no, I love camping and figuring shit out, right? And that's why I think
Right.
the craft part of, that's one of the big things of trail running is the craft part, right? So like you
Yeah.
can run all you want, but if you don't know where you're going and you're lost, that's no good. Or if shit goes sideways, what are you going to do, right? So
Right.
it's kind of having the comfort and not panicking or whatever to be able to to be able to do it and still make it an enjoyable, survivable event.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, guys, hopefully some of the stuff that we covered tonight will help somebody and keep them from slipping. Their mileage may, individual mileage may vary, and all that stuff, but hopefully, I know it was helpful for me to hear you guys kind of talk about your experiences with this. And, I'm kind of looking forward to talking to Ty next week, and we'll hear some more about, those decisions that have to be made when you're really too tired to make them,
Mhm.
and maybe how to set up some bumpers or something like that. So it should be a lot of fun either way. So, I guess one more time, any closing arguments? Are we good here?
I think we're good.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I look forward to next winter when you're active, right? Art,
Yeah.
and we can exercise some of these things we were talking about. So
Yes, that
Yeah.
means that now I'm going to have to I have to definitely get into, get back into shape and be ready for this. But yeah, next winter should be a blast to try some of these cold weather stuff. So,
Yeah.
Okay. So, thank you everyone for listening. Of course, if you've made it this far, seek professional help, and we will see you all in a mile.
Mile and a half.
All right. All right.
All right. That was fun.
Thank you. Thank you.
There
That
you
was
go.
really fun.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
That's cool. It's a good mix between, a good different ways of looking at stuff, and it was great. And Phred, good to hear about across the years too. So
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Touched on that race. It's such an interesting experience, because it's really it's like such a destination race for the West Coasters. There's so many people who were like part of the West Coast ultra scene who would always be there. Not as many now, but still a lot.
Yeah. They're all running UTMB. And the big money races, those sellout bastards, they're West Coast. Fuck them. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. That's right.
Excellent.
I just had whiplash. The moment you said that, I'm like, oh, Arizona, like warm, dry, sun.
That's right. Yes.
I was just like, wait, what?
It wasn't really such a good segue, but
No,
I think
it's great. I just I forgot, that there's a place where it's not like this,
I know.
So I'm glad that Phred, that you got to be there for a few days. So
my family got there after not making it 15 years ago. And one of the ironic things about the whole thing is that my friend Steve started his running streak at Across the Years 15 years ago. We weren't even really friends. We had barely knew each other, but he went out there in 2010, and that was the first day of his 15-year running streak. So when I went out there, and I got to run with him on his 15th anniversary of his running streak.
Wow. Well, that's cool. That's
and
good. Across
if
the
I were a
15
better
years.
person, I would have mentioned that too, but I didn't.
Well, no, you just did now, Phred.
Okay.
You just did now. We'll put that in the blooper reel. So if he
All
listens,
right.
he'll get the reward. If he doesn't, hang on.